Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Everyone, checking in on USMJ. So just after doing the rundown of the Canadian MJ video, it's clear to me that there's a slight shift more towards the bulls on the US side. It's not significant at this point yet, but it's more significant than the Canadian side. So I'm going to continually monitoring that and see how they compare to each other week by week. So GWPH I'm interested in. The reason I'm interested in GWPH is this very healthy, prolonged weekly consolidation. We came off the all-time high, and after the last 7 weeks, the bulls are still holding the weekly exponential support. And the most notable thing to me about this daily chart pattern is we have dropped to a lower low now 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Every single time we have dropped to a lower low, it's one day into a bounce. So bear break of support, 2-day bounce. And actually that support didn't break. Bear break of support, 2-day bounce. Bear break of support, 3-day bounce. Bear break of support, straight into a bounce. So that tells me that the bears are not getting follow through. The bulls are buying the dips. And in a scenario where you change the daily trend and do not get follow through, you zoom out and look for a weekly bull flag. At this point, the flag is more drawn out. I would not call it a flag because if this was our flagpole, the flag would be as long, if not longer. So I'm not going to call it a bull flag, but I am going to call it healthy contained consolidation. So I'm watching for a change in the daily trend. We have not seen the daily trend change since back at the top in May. It's been about 5 weeks. Anything under 179.15 is just a lower high, but I'm keeping my eye on GWPH over the next week for when that daily trend does change, for the indication that we're going to be heading back up towards that all-time high. IIPR continues to follow through with the most anticipated pattern very nicely. We were looking for an equilibrium ever since this pullback, and we've gotten it. So we have our high, low, lower high, higher low, and now we're scouting a lower high compared to 134.78, and for this tightening range to break probably Tuesday or Wednesday this coming week, and actually that could be affected with the holidays, but essentially a tightening range on the daily. If it breaks bear, we're going to zoom out and look at the first weekly consolidation since this massive run. If we break bull, we're looking right back up towards that all-time high. Going to keep an eye on IIPR. Curaleaf, no sign of the bulls. Have not seen 2 green days in a row since the start of June, and we're looking back down at 938. If 938 breaks, and actually it did already break, so now we're looking at the gap fill of 923. So the gap fill is approaching. If 923 breaks, I'm then looking down at 9 psychological and just a guide of the daily exponential resistances and a clear downtrend. So for every individual name, what we're watching for is a break of the exponential resistances, turn them into support, and change the daily trend. That's the shift in psychology and price action that we're looking for, and Curaleaf is one of the further away MJ names on the US side of the border to be seeing that setup. And the monthly time frame is still absolutely looking for a higher low, and this pullback has not been as extreme. If you compare the percentage pullback from the all-time high, we're sitting at about 41, so it's starting to get there, but there are other names that have been down over 50% from their high at this point. So just seeing a little bit of catch-up and a little bit of a delayed move, but the bears are in complete control at this point. I will be looking for an entry on Curaleaf when this daily trend does change. CL, nice equilibrium that we're going to be watching. Low, high, higher low, and anything under 2070 is a lower high. If we cannot break 2070 and we lose the hourly uptrend, we look for a pullback and a higher low compared to 1714. We can stay within this pattern all next week. It's a shortened week, so going to be patiently watching towards potentially mid-July for a break of this tightening range. If we get the bull break, it's the first daily confirmation of the trend change in quite some time. The weekly time frame will then be looking for bounce follow-through. And if we get the bear break, then we're looking right back down at the lows. TRUL also trying to change this daily trend. So we have the low, high, higher low at 1354, and the bulls have to break 1517 to change this trend with a higher low and a higher high. That would be a notable shift on TRUL, and if the bulls cannot pull that off, then we remain patient and we continue to wait. But if we change that daily trend, again, anybody that changes its daily trend, zoom out to the weekly time frame, and then we're looking at a weekly lower high. So we change the trend on the daily, that would be great, but we can't lose sight that the bigger picture weekly time frame still needs work, and it's not going to be just an instant fix. And once we change the daily trend, we're not going to be home free, essentially. So change that daily trend, and we'll be looking for a lower high compared to 1807, and it would be the kind of scenario where we would have to see the bulls change the daily trend, probably reject from 1807, form a weekly high or low, and change the weekly trend heading into the fall. IAN. Getting some follow through. So again, IAN is currently my biggest long-term MJ position. I've got IAN and OH set away right now. Very comfortable in the OH position. A bit less comfortable in the IAN position, but this kind of bounce certainly making it more comfortable. First close over the daily 12-period exponential resistance since back here at the end of April. 2 months since that has happened, so we make note of that. Ideally, we would have seen increasing bull volume. I don't like that we don't have increasing bull volume at this point, so I'm not celebrating just yet. 7, make that 478 is a key resistance level. I'm watching for the potential of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. If we cannot break 478 on this go around this coming week, and we have to pull back for a daily higher low, that inverse head and shoulders pattern will be a potential setup to be watching. Best case scenario for the bulls would be a spike in bull volume of 700,000 plus shares traded and a break of 478. Again, getting over these daily exponential resistances would be notable, and also seeing the first bull cross in a very long time, 6 months, would be notable as well. I'm watching the pattern of a weekly lower high every week for 13 weeks in a row at this point, maybe even 14, and that has a good chance of breaking this coming week because we closed at the high of the week. The pattern the past couple days has been a little bit of a bull run on increasing volume at the end of the day. Let's see if we can get a more notable shift in this momentum. CL. So daily higher low is trying to form. Have we changed the hourly trend is the first question that I want answered when I'm looking at a bullish reversal or a bearish reversal candle on the daily. So I look at the hourly. We have not changed the hourly trend. So I know we need a clear higher low and higher high on the hourly to be convinced that our daily higher low is established. And from there, we would look for a lower high compared to 1514 and a tightening range into mid-July. But the more follow through the bulls can get, the more volume we can get, the more odds, the higher the odds of the daily trend change taking place, which is what is needed on any individual name to see that shift in momentum we're watching for. OH, nice little save by the bulls. So as I said in my last video, my position, I will exit if we lose the daily higher low pattern. If 850 were to break, I would exit at least a good chunk of my position. My break even is down here at around $8 or so, but I would want to exit a good chunk to eliminate risk because the weekly time frame could still be a bear flag. If the bulls can continue to keep the daily uptrend and see a break of 955 and get some follow through, then we're just fine. So that's what it boils down to in the first few days this coming week. We're either going to head back to 850, which is a red flag for bulls, or break 955, which is a sigh of relief for these bulls who are battling the exponential resistances. Again, have not seen a clear close over both of those levels in months, and a daily trend change took place with a lack of follow-through. Bulls have to get that follow-through this coming week, and that would make me very comfortable if we could see one more little higher high here and get back up towards $10. Again, we zoom out to the weekly. We know anything under 1190 is just a weekly lower high. So not only do we have to change the daily trend on these names, but we have to change weekly trends as well as we head into the fall. HARV, bulls doing nothing, daily exponential resistance, tightening range worth watching. Inverse head and shoulders pattern is the hope for the bulls, but we would have to see a break of 854 for it to be meaningful. Support is 770 and 737. Bulls have to break 854 to start to shift that momentum and try and see any follow through. GTII, we have a daily trend change. Again, the lack of follow through means watch out for a weekly bear flag. We cannot rule out weekly bear flags because they are possible in this space, especially if the S&P 500 were to see some weakness, lose its daily uptrend. So keeping an eye out for that scenario. Anything above 1342 is a higher low, but similar boat to OH. We changed the daily trend. We didn't get much follow through. The bulls have to keep the daily uptrend by holding 1342 support and see another leg up and see a bull cross of these exponential moving averages for the first time in 6 months. MedMen, so we got the bull break and follow through. This is what the bulls want to see on a daily trend change. So there's our follow through. Uptick in bull volume, clearly getting over resistance, bull cross of the exponential moving averages. And if you've been watching these videos over the last 6 months, you have seen or heard me be very bearish on MedMen because the weekly chart told us to be very bearish on MedMen, and this has pretty much been going on for the last 6 months. But now my opinion has clearly shifted. MedMen is one of the strongest USMJ names just as far as what we've seen in the last month. If you took the last month and compared it to any other USMJ name, it's going to be among the top. And that's all that I care about. I don't care about the fundamentals. I'm aware of the fundamentals. I'm aware that there was drama with the leadership, but all that matters is the price action. So as I try and remain as unbiased as possible for positions that for names that I don't have positions in, this is a complete sentiment shift for me as soon as we broke 311. And we went from the bad boy list to the good boy list very quickly. So now we have the daily trend change. We zoom out. We know we're going to form a weekly lower high compared to 422. And it's now check mark number 1. Daily trend change has changed. And now we need the weekly trend change for more prolonged follow through heading into the fall. KSHB, daily trend change in a big way. Big time move the last few days. So we are looking at anything above. If we do pull back, that's a bearish reversal doji. Again, I want to know, is the hourly uptrend intact? And it is. If we see a bear break of $5, daily consolidation will be underway. And we'll look for a higher low compared to 424. Bulls have a lot of space to work with. Look at the bull cross of the exponential moving averages that is going to take place. That will be notable. Look back here. I can see we had a bull cross with no follow through. So that signal is less relevant to me than on a name that has not seen a bull cross and has not seen a fake out in the last 6 months. But we have our daily trend change. We're over the exponential resistances, which had rejected the price for months. Now we zoom out to the weekly, and we're looking at, I wouldn't call this a weekly trend change. The most important weekly level for me is 628, looking bigger picture. So just like everybody else, anything under 628 is a lower high. We have to see a weekly trend change into the fall to see that notable momentum shift. CVSI, still struggling at daily exponential resistance. Bulls are not proving anything to us. Anything under 425, just a lower high. Support is down at 392 and 390. We actually already broke it. So another name with a break of support and a lack of follow through, but also the Bulls not proving anything to us as far as going on offense. So I am not very interested in CVSI at this point until we can get over these daily exponential resistances. NBEV, choppy. This is a very choppy range right now. The weekly time frame has our low of 423, the high of the bounce of 499, a higher low. We could technically change this weekly trend with a break of 499. The setup's a little bit different to allow that trend change sooner than a lot of other names can see it on their weekly time frames. Look at that volume and close on Friday. That's notable. Get over $5 and the shift will be underway on NBEV. And looking at the monthly time frame, equilibrium, high, low, lower high. We're scouting the monthly higher low compared to 303, and a break of $5 will make that a lot more convincing. ZYNE. So we're looking at a weekly tightening range, high, low, lower high. The Bulls are hoping that 1236 is already our higher low. That's notable volume. 1490 is the key level. If we form a lower high, we have to change the daily trend for our weekly higher low to be established. And if we break 1490, then we're going to have a bull break of this weekly pattern. Keep an eye on ZYNE. This is very healthy weekly consolidation at this point. The question is, do we have to tighten up further, or are the Bulls ready to rip and make their way back up to the recent highs? And that volume and close is encouraging. Monday's follow through will be very telling and notable. If we get a bearish reversal candlestick on the daily Monday, then we know we have to form a daily higher low and change that trend rather than looking straight up to 1490, which is still a ways away. PYX, multiple inside bars. We're going to get a break on the daily on Monday and look for a volume spike as well. Break of 1510 is bearish. That would have us looking at 1495 and 1480. Break of 1579 is bullish. That would have us looking at 1598 and 1710. Have to see the daily trend change. You know, everybody on this bull move was asking me, what about PYX? What about that monster move? It's just a daily lower high. until we change the daily trend with a higher low and follow through, it doesn't mean anything. And those initial bull moves on downtrends don't mean anything to me because they happen from shorts covering and bulls buying the dip. And if shorts cover and that provides the bull fuel, and then there's no one else to continue sustained buying, this is what we see happen. A big bull move up to 18, and just like that, we pull back. How much did we pull back from that top? Almost 20%. Have to see the sustained buying for the higher low and higher high. That's why trend changes are so important. Not only is it an initial impulse bull move, but it's the follow through that tells us, okay, that wasn't a one-off, that wasn't just shorts covering, there is continued buying pressure there. PLTH, we're getting to the low caps now. Again, very choppy daily time frame. I don't like the clarity on the daily, but I do like it on the weekly. I'm looking at a high, low, lower high of 310. Pretty much 241 to 310 is the range to be watching. Break 241 and it's 235. And if we break 310, that's a weekly trend change that would have us looking back up towards the all-time high. Worth keeping an eye out on the weekly chart. BAMM, daily trend change needed to see the shift, and 155 is the level to break. Our low is 110, our high is 155. We held support by 5 cents. Now we must break resistance and get over the daily exponential resistances to see the momentum shift. Worth keeping an eye out for. We're looking for a monthly higher low to form, but we need a daily trend change as step number 1. If we reject from 155, we could stay within this range all next week. TILT, daily exponential resistance. We did close over the 12 period as well, but we have in the past. It's really we have to close over both and see that bull cross. Key resistance, 133 and 140. Break those levels, and we'll be watching for the momentum shift to be underway. Otherwise, just looking to trade sideways for a bit while these exponential moving averages tighten up. So that's where we stand again. If you watch both Canadian and USMJ, the short term over the last 2-3 weeks, USMJ have more favorable setups. We're looking for follow through on a lot of individual names. MedMen gave us some good looking follow through. Every individual name wants to see the follow through that MedMen got. It's a nice example. And the question will be, can we pull that off over the next week or two? So that's what we're keeping an eye out on. Again, as far as longer term positions, I've got IAN and OH. I'm interested in Curaleaf, but I need to see a trend change. I'm not going to be buying Curaleaf into weakness. I'm going to be buying Curaleaf after they show us the momentum change, just like MedMen with that break of 311 and the follow through. Let's see how far we got after that break from 311, the percentage move up to 350, well over 10%. So again, waiting for that momentum shift, 12% move, and that's what I'm going to be watching for on Curaleaf. Hope you're well, do good things. Thanks again. See you Monday. It's the season of baby birds. This mother's sitting on a nest, and I'm pretty sure there's eggs underneath her, so sometime in the next couple weeks, we'll have some babies to watch there. Turkey babies, geese babies, duck babies, bird babies. I need to get a bunch of feeders put up. That's the weekend task for now.